between. More changeable weather to come as we go through next week. There will be some rain pushing through and it could be a little bit heavy, perhaps even thundery at times as well. Bye-bye.
A positive outlook through the night will power through to a bright day ahead. Boxed Home Battery Storage, sponsors of weather on GB News.
Courtesy of Marquis Leisure, you could be driving away with this brand new Elnag Baron 560 motorhome. It comfortably sleeps 4, comes with sky roof, integrated kitchen and bathroom, and is worth over £67,000. And that's not all, as we'll also give you a further £5,000 in tax-free cash to make sure that wherever this motorhome takes you, it takes you there in style. For a chance to win a motorhome and cash, text WIN to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message, or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB13 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 6th of June. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation, isn't it?
Because
the failure is...
You're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back.
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
And we do not shy away from the difficult stuff. Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood. So join me on Dubes & Co. weeknights at 6 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
It's Patrick Christies tonight, and here we do things differently.
It's explaining the absolute madness of this, doesn't it?
It's explosive.
I mean, this is very good.
It's lively.
850. Your government sat there, Sean, and it did nothing.
It's controversial.
And the Middle East has been in turmoil since before I was born.
It's everything you need to kickstart your evening.
Everyone's had their Weetabix tonight. I love to see it.
That's Patrick Christies tonight, weeknights from 9 p.m. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
If you want your news to be straight talking...
This is a nightmare for the Conservatives again.
Down to earth.
It's not just Nottingham where this is happening, is it?
And most importantly, honest.
Hard-working, middle-class taxpayers, they'll get their book thrown at them.
Then catch me, Martin Daubney, Monday to Friday, 3 till 6 p.m. on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Westminster, the ultimate clique.
And you're fighting like rats in a sack.
But here on the Camilla Tominey Show, we ask the questions the establishment media is too scared to ask.
OK, let me ask you a straight question, because I know you're a straight-talking politician.
Whether it's net zero, illegal immigration or law and order, nothing is off limits.
You had the power then.
Yeah, as I
and
say,
now you've lost it.
That's the Camilla Tominey Show, a politics show that's fearless.
But no, let me finish my question if you don't mind, because it is my show.
Sundays at 9:30, only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
I'm Patrick Christies. Now, it might be the hottest day of the year, but the best place to be is right in there in the GB News studios for my live studio audience. Let's do it.
We can arrange to return your life jacket once embarked. Can you confirm how many persons are on board, Heather?
That's right. The French have been giving life jackets to illegal migrants crossing the channel, and...
She said, if you continue to follow our children, I'm going to have you arrested. I just couldn't believe what was going on.
A police officer told GB News that he was ordered to stop investigating the grooming gangs. Why? Also tonight...
Have you watched Adolescence yet?
No, I haven't. I probably won't.
I'll get stuck into the insufferable BBC. Also...
So we're out in Benidorm in March. Look at the weather. Beautiful weather.
Yes, find out why the Spanish are kicking off about Brits in Benidorm. And... Hypocrite Prince Harry thinks Britain's too dangerous, but he's swanned off to the Ukrainian war zone. And find out why one town in Wales wants to change its name because of these little guys. Oh, and I wonder what all this is about.
Hi, it's Emily. I'm really excited to be on Patrick's panel tonight on the show, and I've also got a bit of a special announcement for you, so stay tuned.
But it's time to meet the real stars of my show, the live studio audience. Play those titles.
Brilliant. Well done, everyone. Thank you very much. Thank you. Hello and welcome to our live studio audience show. Yes, it's tremendous to have you all here on a Friday night. This really is the place to be. Let me introduce my top panel. We've got Barry Gardner, Labour MP for West. Yes, we've got GBNews superstar, former Tory MP Miriam Cates. Broadcasting royalty Christo Fufas. And the one, the only, the amazing Emily Carver. Yes, and don't worry, we will be going down the pub for Adam Brooks and Big Marcus. Yes, Big Marcus going to get his guns out. It's all to play for tonight. We've got a full house here. We've got a full bingo card of topics, and I'll bring it to you all after we've heard the bulletins from San Francisco.
Patrick, thank you, and good evening to you. It's just after 9 o'clock. The top story tonight. MPs are being urgently recalled to Westminster tomorrow as the government races to pass emergency legislation aimed at saving British Steel's Scunthorpe plant from closure. Prime Minister Sir Keir Starmer says the UK's economy security is on the line as ministers seek powers to take control of the site and keep production going. Opposition parties are piling on the pressure, with Lib Dems demanding a serious plan for the industry's future, and others, including Plaid Cymru, accusing Labour of inaction, particularly in Port Talbot. Conservative leader, meanwhile, Kemi Badenoch, has described the crisis as entirely of the government's making, while Labour MPs have been urged to confirm their attendance as the vote looms. In other news, the Chancellor says the UK is resolved to secure the best deal it can with the United States after a senior Trump advisor warned tariff concessions are, they say, unlikely. Rachel Reeves insisted talks are ongoing despite growing fears the UK could be stuck with the former president's new 10%, the current president rather, his new 10% baseline tariff described as the minimum rate that most countries will face unless they strike what he has described as an extraordinary deal. Rachel Reeves also said the government is doubling down on trade ties elsewhere, pointing to ongoing negotiations with India and the European Union at a summit planned for May. Her comments come as global markets have steadied following Trump's 90-day pause on some tariffs, but China's retaliatory 125% levy on US goods has fueled concerns the trade war could deepen. Well, let's just bring you a breaking line coming out of Athens this evening, where a bomb has reportedly exploded outside the offices of Greece's main railway company. We'll take you live now to the scene where the police cordon is currently in place. They say that they did receive an anonymous warning call around 40 minutes before that blast, prompting authorities to cordon off the area, as you can see there on your screen. Traffic appearing to still move relatively freely around the area, but it is a busy street lined with restaurants and bars. Officers confirmed a explosive device had been placed in a bag near the building, though at this stage no injuries reported. And of course that attack comes as anger continues to simmer over the deadliest train disaster back in 2023 in Greece, which sadly killed 57 people, mostly students at the time, and it has reignited criticism of the government's handling of that tragedy. We'll keep across any developments and details coming to us in the newsroom on that story. In other news here at home, teachers in England have overwhelmingly rejected the government's 2.8% pay offer and say they're ready to strike. In a parliamentary vote by the NEU, nearly 94% said no to that deal, with over 83% backing industrial action to demand higher, fully funded pay rises. Union leaders say years of below-inflation pay and growing workloads have created a recruitment and retention crisis. Education Secretary Bridget Phillipson, though, has called the threat of strikes indefensible and urged the union to put children first. And Sir Elton John, well, he's gone and done it again. The music legend has landed his 10th UK #1 album with Who Believes in Angels. It's a new collaboration with US country star Brandi Carlile. I think I've said that correctly. 52 years after his very first chart topper. Written and recorded in just 3 weeks, would you believe? The album had a rocky start. He was seen throwing headphones, ripping up lyrics, and a few diva moments, all captured in a behind-the-scenes documentary. But he says it's the finest album he's done for a very long time. Take a listen. Well, the album's success puts Sir Elton alongside chart giants like ABBA, Queen and Michael Jackson. Certainly not bad for someone who once said he was ready to retire. Clearly, he is still standing. Yes, I did write that script. I'm very proud. Those are the latest headlines. I'll be back with you at the top of the hour.
For the very latest GB News direct to your smartphone, sign up to News Alerts by scanning the QR code or go to gbnews.com/alerts.
To another Friday Night Spectacular with my fantastic live studio audience. Tremendous to have a full house this evening, so thank you, everybody. Well, this week, I went to visit a deprived third world country where I think politicians have left the population living in their own filth. That's right, I went to Birmingham.
Fish on a fence. Rat bag. Rubble. A fridge. Who that guy is?
No. Who is it?
Now, obviously, not all the locals could tell me exactly how angry they are.
Lad, I'm going to...
OK. Do you speak English at all?
No, I can't.
Oh. Yeah, well, anyway, I wonder how he votes. But the latest line today is that a rat catcher has offered to send his team of dogs in to help kill all the cat-sized rodents that apparently, one bloke told me, have been biting old ladies.
Well, my neighbour told me the other day someone's been bit by rats. Rats the size of cats running.
Someone got bitten by one?
That's what my neighbour said, yeah. Elderly old woman.
But where are all the local politicians? Well, Labour's Tahir Ali is still dreaming of an airport in Mirpur, Pakistan.
I shared on social media the work I and colleagues across the two houses have been doing to urge the government of Pakistan to build an international airport at Mirpur.
Jess Phillips is busy scrapping a grooming gang inquiry.
Following feedback from local authorities, the fund will adopt a flexible approach.
And Labour's Liam Byrne is big in Japan. Here he is appearing on an episode of Takeshi's Castle.
Everybody's kung fu fighting. He's kung fu fallen. He's being chased by the guard now. He's got to get away.
And I don't know where the Justice Minister, Shabana Mahmood, is, but this is what her constituency looks like.
Oh, I mean, I'm trying not to be dramatic here, but the smell is absolutely overpowering, I'm afraid. There's flies everywhere.
Justice. Right, OK, so let's open it straight up to the audience. And what would you like to say when it comes to the Birmingham bin crisis? Is it anything to do with politicians going off on holidays to Japan whilst their town rots? Or what is it you'd like to say?
I think it's absolutely terrible. They're buggered off, they're gone, and people in Birmingham are just living with the crap. And it is unacceptable.
OK, all right, well, that's your view. I suspect that view is shared by most people, especially the ones in Birmingham. Emily, I'll start with you on this. Do you think it's acceptable for Liam Byrne to nip off on an extended trip to Japan?
Massive mistake. I think I would have cancelled that, and I hear that he actually extended it to have a bit of a holiday. I think there are far too many jollies in general going on, actually, with this government at the moment. £1 million, apparently, David Lammy. OK, he is the Foreign Secretary, but £1 million, 3 months on private jets, going here, there and everywhere. I'd like to see what exactly has been achieved by all of those trips, £1 million. But Angela Rayner, she's got a big problem here, because she is the darling of the trade unions, and now Sharon Graham from the Unite Union is very angry indeed about Angela Rayner, because she she's saying, no, we're not going to side with the bin men. We're going to go with the council. So there you go. It's a bit trouble in paradise, I think.
Christo, your views on this?
Well, it's another skint council that has been backed into a corner. And, you know, it was interesting, and I know this point has been made this week about the fact that it's the Equalities Act as well, the way in which that's being interpreted, which has led to this problem, meaning that they can't afford to pay other staff more, so they've got to try and pay the bin men less. But what is it about skint councils and bins as well? Because where I live, right, this is the second time I've been on television today to talk about my bins.
Oh, yes.
I'm obsessed with the fact that councils seem to think that their first thing that they can lose when they've got no money is bin collections, leaving their residents in total and utter filth. Now, what this will mean is that not only are we seeing, obviously in Birmingham, fly tipping everywhere, we're seeing fly tipping increasing across the UK. The council's first obligation when we're paying a fortune in council tax is to collect the rubbish.
OK.
Yep. It's simple, right?
How do you feel about that?
Absolutely.
All right. Well, I'm just going to ask, I'm going to lob it over to Barry Gardner. I'm just going to ask if anyone else wants to make a point on the Birmingham bin collection. MPs going on jollies, put your hand up. We'll get the microphone to you as well. So there we go. But Barry, can I ask you how you feel about this? Because look, you know, Liam Byrne's got a bit of stick here, and so has the Labour Party. Just before I say, we here at GBNews came into possession of some secret pictures from Liam Byrne's holiday.
Secret pictures?
In Japan. I think we might be able to bring up a couple of Liam Byrne's pictures from holiday here now. So let's do it on the screen, can we? So there he is, sumo wrestling. He went sumo wrestling.
Fine figure of a man, though, you've got to admit.
He went to see all the local geography as well, didn't he? There he is at Mount Fuji. Loved it. And of course, when you're in Japan, you've got to eat some sushi. So there he is. But, there we go. He's had a great time in Japan, Barry, while his constituency rots. You wouldn't have gone away, would you? Has that happened?
Look, let's just get clear what he did do, OK? He is chair of the Select Committee on Business and Trade. So he went to Japan as part of that in order to sound out what trade deals we can do with them. And I think everybody would accept that that's a sensible thing for the guy who chairs the Select Committee to do. Now, he stayed longer. Emily's absolutely right.
That's not on, is it, Barry? I mean, look at the state of Birmingham.
He stayed longer to have a bit of a holiday at the end of it. It is parliamentary recess. MPs are not tomorrow. We're back in. We're being recalled tomorrow, but we didn't know that until today. So it is parliamentary recess. He's entitled to a holiday, and no doubt when he planned that, he thought, OK, I'm going out there anyway. I'll stick around. But look, PR,
well, it's nice to roll it into one, isn't it? Cheaper that way.
PR in politics is really important, and how you present is really important. So I think, you know, from the PR point of view, it was a bad call. And what's really important, though, is, as Christo was saying, is local authorities have been starved of funding. And
I didn't say that. I said they were skint. I didn't say they were starved of funding.
Well, they have been.
They do waste some
I'll
money.
say that then. They've actually been starved of funding for the past 10 years, right? And what we've seen is many councils, not just Labour councils, but many councils going bust. And this is a consequence of that. But you know, I get the optics, and I understand why.
Just going to say, does Birmingham City Council's total debt, does anyone want to take a stab at this, right? Does anyone just want to shout out how many billions of quid in debt you think Birmingham City Council is in? Any numbers? Any what? 3, what do you say? Million? Billion, double it and add 900,000.
Wow.
6.9 billion, apparently. But Miriam, when I was there in Birmingham and I was seeing the absolute filth that was rolling around on the streets, etc., I did feel very sorry for a lot of the residents, of course, because for some of them there is precious little you can actually do. But I did also see a lot of wanton fly tipping and a lot of cars lining all of these roads that I wondered whether or not you could put some of your rubbish in and drive to a tip. And that, to me, screamed that there is not a great sense of community in some of those areas in Birmingham.
I mean, fly tipping, unfortunately, is a problem in a lot of councils. It depends on the council's rules about whether you can get rid of waste for free and all sorts of things. But I think, you know, I think that's a side issue here. I think there are many problems. And Christo, you said that the council's first duty is to collect rubbish. Well, people might think it ought to be, but legally it isn't. Their first duty, they have statutory duties, and that is social care. And year by year, adult social care bills go up and up and up because we have an ageing population. And most councils have legally had no choice but to cut the services that we all think are essential and absolutely should be essential, but legally aren't. Yeah. And that's why councils are skint, because they're let me finish. Yeah. They're spending more and more on this. But
hang on, they had to do a massive payout because of the Equality Act.
So Birmingham have got, all councils have that problem, and I think about a third of councils are in deficit because of this very issue. Birmingham has an additional problem, which is that it faced this equal pay claim. It lost this equal pay claim about 7 or 8 years ago, which I think was £600 million. And the root of this, as you said, is the Equality Act, that they couldn't prove that they were paying bin men an equivalent wage. I can't remember who the comparative... Exactly. And unfortunately, it's exactly like the next pay claim, where are you the same in a warehouse or on a shop front? And the problem is, if you can't pay someone as much as you need to get them to do the job, this is where you end up. And this is why the Equality Act is a disaster, and this is why you should be able to pay people what they need to do the job and not what the Equality Act says.
But it's not fair, is it, Miriam? If people are doing jobs that are of equal value and equal, they should get equal wage.
Do you want to collect bins, or do you want to be a teaching assistant? I'll be a teaching assistant, thank you very much. I don't care if it's paid less, because I don't want to be a bin man. And so why shouldn't you pay bin man more?
You want to be a bin man in Birmingham? Well, can I just come back on one point? Because, everyone in here, well, most people in here, are quite reasonable, right? And they understand.
Don't know about that.
Take that side. No, I really think most people understand that, and that councils are under pressure. But then, do you know how infuriating it is when you've got a council like mine, which is £1 billion in debt? They can't collect the bins as often as they need to, but then they open up a fund for £45,000 for parklets, which you can get one each outside your house.
Your local MP is banging on relentlessly about an airport in Mirport. Why are you doing that? Your constituents... I went there with a big picture of Tahir Ali and went up and down the high street. No one flipping knew who he was. No one had a clue who he was. This guy, seriously, I even had an interview, which I got in the can, which I can play out maybe tomorrow or Monday or whatever, of a bloke who was from Pakistan, who'd moved to his constituency, who said no one cares about an airport in Mirport, standing in front of a big pile of rubbish, saying we do care about this.
But Patrick, this is where, and I don't support at all those MPs putting foreign interests above Britain. I think it's appalling. But nevertheless, MPs have absolutely no control over what councils do. They have no statutory rights. They can't even do any more than an individual.
They stick on a high vis, do a couple of interviews in front of some...
You could clean up some rubbish. That might help.
Absolutely, you can. What I'm saying is, you can't. No MP can force an end to that strike.
Well, it's good though, because apparently Japan is notoriously very, very clean. Yes. Liam Byrne has had a little bit of a taste of that, and maybe when he comes back, he can say, "Oh, actually, I wonder what they do over here."
Probably why he's staying there.
OK, guys, well, I know the main reason you all came tonight.
Oh no!
Oh no! Yes.
It's time for the Great British Giveaway. Prize we've ever given away. It's your chance to drive away with a brand new motorhome worth £67,000. Here's all the money you need. Come on.
We're making the Great British Giveaway a getaway with a chance to win our biggest prize to date. You could be the proud owner of this Elneg Baron 560 motorhome worth over £67,000. Supplied brand new from Marquis Leisure, you could be exploring Great Britain and beyond this summer and making memories to last a lifetime. This motorhome comfortably sleeps 4, has its own kitchen and bathroom spaces, and comes complete with all of the mod cons you'd expect from a vehicle of this calibre. And that's not all, as we'll also give you £5,000 in tax-free cash so you can get started on your next adventure as soon as possible. For a chance to win a motorhome and cash, text WIN to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message, or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB13 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 6th of June. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
Well, there's loads on tonight. Following his trip back to the UK for his latest court case, where he tried to argue that it was unsafe for him to be in the UK, Prince Harry seems to be in no rush to return to Meghan in America. Oh, I wonder why. He'd rather be in war-torn wastelands of Ukraine. So Britain isn't safe for Harry. In fact, he had to miss his own uncle's funeral, didn't he? Because he wouldn't have been safe. But Ukraine absolutely is. We're going to explore that after the break. Stay tuned.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation,
No,
isn't it?
no,
Because the failure is...
You're
the failure is...
deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back.
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
And we do not shy away from the difficult stuff. Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood. So join me on Dubes & Co. weeknights at 6 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Join me, Nana Akwe, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun.
No, he didn't say that, Dave.
I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Martin Daubney, weekdays from 3 p.m.
Britain's first gangster turned bishop says that Prince William has nicked my best ideas. I'm not joking. It's true. You can hear him laughing next to me now. Pastor Mick champions a one-stop shop for supporting rough sleepers. Tell GB News viewers a bit about your incredible story, how you started out and how you ended up as man of the cloth.
Yeah, so this was basically back from addiction, abuse as a child, mental health, and then into a life of crime and spiralled down, and had a final stay in a psychiatric unit on a crack addict, and my life kind of built up from there. I've been clean off drugs and alcohol for 14 years, and it's been a really painful journey. Well, I find that, you know, in the pain, if you look at the news now, there's so much pain for people, you know, it's like... And I've managed to find out where the joy is in the pain, and that's what I try to do. I try to show people where the joy is in the pain, because if you love, it's going to hurt. And the measure of the pain is sometimes a measure of the love that you have for other people and inside yourself. So the book kind of tells the stories of people who've had a lot of pain, but yet... they've come through, just like myself.
Now, just hold this up now, the book, Walk in My Shoes. Oh, that is on sale now, and it's got a message on the back. It's got royal approval. It's impossible to visit church on the street and not be deeply moved by the work the organisation does for those in need. His Royal Highness, the Prince of Wales. Of course, you've got a huge fan in Prince William. He's been to visit you.
GB News, the People's Channel.
We're proud to be GB News, the People's Channel, and as you know, we always love to hear your views. Now, there's a new way of getting in touch with us at gbnews.com/yoursay. By commenting, you can be part of a live conversation and join our GB News community. You can even talk to me, Bev Turner, or any of the members of the GB News family.
Headliners on GB News 11 p.m. every night. It's got 3 top comedians going through the next day's newspapers so you don't have to read them, which is great.
That's a good point. He's lying. I mean, maybe he's not lying.
That's Headliners every night from 11 p.m. and 5 a.m. as well on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Everyone's on great form today, and in fact, I've just found out that a couple has come from Edinburgh as well to be here. So thank Give us a quick wave. Go on. Yeah. We're going on the telly. Yeah, well done. Right, good stuff.
He told his boss he was ill.
Yeah, sorry about that. Anyway, Prince Harry arriving back in the UK for his latest court case, the Duke of Sussex, instead of returning to the sunshine of Los Angeles and, you know, his family and all of that stuff, decided to make a surprise visit to war-torn Ukraine. The visit has seen him meet with war victims at the Superhuman Centre in Lviv. So the Duke of Sussex was joined by a contingent from the Invictus Games Foundation, including 4 veterans who have undergone similar rehabilitation experiences. So, look, the obvious hypocrisy here is that apparently Britain isn't safe for Harry, and his family had to miss his uncle's funeral last year because it wasn't safe for him. But obviously you can just swan off to Ukraine. Now, there's a lady on the front row who would like to say something about this. Do you mind me asking what your name is, please?
Diane.
Diane, lovely. Will you hold that microphone up to your mouth and then say whatever you want to say?
OK, yes, well, the question about whether Prince Harry is moulding his own life away from Meghan Markle. Is that true? I guess only Prince Harry himself, the runaway prince, knows the answer. But I really, really hope that he is moulding his own life, because if he moulds his own life, he will become his own person again, and we've lost that Harry. We need the old Harry. We don't want Harry.
You miss the old Harry, do you?
No, we need the old Harry.
You need the old. Why do we need him?
Because he's a nice guy. He's friendly with people. He's got an empathy. He's got the empathy of his mother, and I think that's been put aside at the moment. We don't really see him.
Audiences here on GBNews, don't we? Right, who wants to kick us off on Prince Harry? Go on.
Well, I mean, that is a lovely point. However, what I'll say... OK, let's look at some of the facts, OK? The front line of Ukraine is obviously an absolutely horrifically dangerous place, which is, you know, getting horrific bombardment by Russia and Putin, yet it's still safer in Harry's eyes than Sadiq Khan's London, which you can't really blame him because, of course, London is an absolute hellhole at the moment for crime. So actually, maybe he has got a point on that. But I cannot now get over. I think, unfortunately, to your point, madam, I think that this is the Harry of who is someone who is bitter and who is angry, that has always been there. What Meghan did was sort of facilitate that. What Meghan did was bring out the anger and resentment that he has felt for many, many years. Now, maybe a different kind of partner would have perhaps rounded off those edges, made him realise that actually some of those things he was angry about weren't so bad after all. But unfortunately, I think that the pair of them together, it is quite a toxic combination. I think they enable each other.
So you blame his wife?
No, I blame them both.
His
choice.
No, I blame them both. I blame them both.
That's not what you did. You just said if he'd only had a different partner, he'd have been a different person.
No.
He's gone out there.
Sometimes you get angry.
Wouldn't we all?
Can calm you down.
He went out there to do what? To actually inspire young men who'd lost their limbs in a war. I think that's commendable.
Yeah.
Whether you like Harry or you don't like Harry, taking the mick out of him over, you know, is he going to the front line, is he in danger? It's a commendable thing to do. Sure. Good luck to him. He's had colleagues in a war zone who've lost limbs. He's seen that, and he's doing something positive about it. And instead of always the British public knocking Harry, knocking Meghan, knocking the royal family, knocking everything they can, let's actually
hang on. He's done his fair share of knocking, Barry.
Yes,
let's just say that. He's just told the Telegraph, which is just a news story about a couple of hours ago, dropped on the Telegraph. He's told the Telegraph that his police protection was withdrawn by this evil government, by the Home Office, to try and trap him in the royal family. This was all some kind of conspiracy so that he and Meghan wouldn't leave the royal family, and so that
that wasn't this government, was it? It was the previous government.
And also his family. But this is all some kind of conspiracy. He's full of resentment.
But if he said that, coming out of court, much of the court cases had to be heard in secret because of the security implications. And he has said that revealed in those transcripts was the fact that the royal family, according to him, thought that if they denied him security, he would have to stay within the royal family because everybody knows the cost of private security is prohibitive. Nevertheless, they left. Now that's a he said, she said. We will never.
Yeah, but you don't.
But I do think there's a serious point.
You didn't brief the newspaper saying that, right? It just makes you sound childish and like you can't let things go.
But I think to Barry's point, I absolutely agree. He served 2 tours in Afghanistan. That's more than 99% of the public. He's clearly personally affected and inspired by his experience and done an awful lot to support veterans. But on the security...
Sorry, do you believe that he's showed commitment to this country? To this country?
He's served 2
This country that's given him so much.
He's served
Go back to his wedding day, his beautiful wedding day, which cost the taxpayer how much money? We celebrated him. We celebrated his marriage. He abandoned this country. He didn't have to do that.
But Emily, I think
he didn't have to do that.
I think we all understand that family dynamics can be very difficult, and we will never.
Do you understand that, Patrick?
No. I'm finding it a little bit tricky.
Sorry.
On the security issue, I do think there is a real security issue for anybody who is famous.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter whether you're a prince or a celebrity or a pop star or someone who's been in prison for a well-publicised case, whatever it is, that decision on providing security should be made without fear or favour on the basis of the risk. And he is at risk. We all know that if he walked down the high street, he would be at risk, so would his wife and his children. Okay. And that's what should determine the security.
One of the problems, Christo, is that because of some of the stuff he wrote in his book about the amount of Taliban he'd killed, that then put a fatwa on his head, which obviously heightens the massive risk. So, to an extent, has he created his own risk, do you think?
Yeah, I don't think he's helped matters at all, and I don't think he's helped matters with what he has said and when he has said it as well. I'm sorry, the Queen, it was known, was in the last couple of years of her life. Prince Philip was very, very ill, and they trashed the family. Would you like me to say something nice, though, about him? Because I can. I actually completely agree. I think it's too late now, but I think that the decision to withdraw his security, he will always be the brother of the future king, the son of the king, the grandson of the Queen, as it was at the time. He will always be that, and I think that that was a mistake not to give him a basic level of security. But now, his argument was that he had to go out and earn all these millions to pay for security for his family. Well, he's got those millions now. You can't now go back and say, sorry, I still need the security.
He's shown no interest in coming back to this country unless it's for a court case or for something that's good for his image. I mean, he hasn't spoken to his father. He's got no relationship with his brother. I'm not sure why he's so desperate to even come back to this country and get the security.
On the issue of whether or not he should have security, so whether or not he either pays for it himself but takes Metropolitan Police officers or taxpayers pay for it, should Harry be given security, or should he have to pay for himself? Let me ask you, should he pay for it himself?
Yes.
Right? Should he be given it? No. Oh, right, OK. I was hoping one person might go, yes. I could say it's a balanced room, but, you know...
Had he not sold everything before, though, I think he should have been given it. Now, he's sold everything, he should have.
I think he's just upset a lot of people, you know?
I think you're right, Emily. He has upset a lot of people. But the fact is, he's vulnerable not because of what he's done, but because of who he is. He was born into a family that made him a target. And as such, because we love and respect the royal family in this country, we owe them their security. And that's why I think he should be given that security. He shouldn't have to pay for it himself.
All right, well, there we go. We've got a whole host of other topics coming your way. So West Yorkshire Police sparked controversy this week after excluding white British applicants in a recruitment effort aimed at increasing diversity within the force. But are white people no longer welcome in the British Police? Stay tuned.
I hope it doesn't rain.
Don't worry about it.
It'll spoil our holiday.
Relax, we're totally covered.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GBNews Travel Destinations Forecast.
If you've got holiday plans for Iberia, unfortunately there are spells of rain around at the moment, and that will continue through the weekend. For Greece, however, it's mostly bright but with a keen breeze, and Italy's faring well on Saturday with plenty of sunny skies. A few showers dotted about through the Mediterranean, and then for Spain, as well as Portugal, Madeira and the Canary Islands, spells of rain and heavy showers are expected to continue through the weekend, staying sunny in Santorini.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GBNews Travel Destinations Forecast.
Join me, Nana Akweer, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun.
No, he didn't say that, though.
I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Martin Daubney, weekdays from 3 p.m.
Victims of an absolutely horrific and heartbreaking crime. Exactly 1 month ago, their home was broken into by machete-wielding thugs. Well, RAF officer Jason Shutt and his partner Sashi had £20,000 of cash and valuables taken from their property in Ruislip, West London, while Sashi was being held at machete point. Now, the armed gang also stole their beloved pug dog, Ozzy. You can see now on your screens. And the family said they aren't focused on getting the money, the jewellery or the watches back. They just want Ozzy back.
I followed myself through into the dining room area when I heard footsteps coming down the stairs. And at this point, they told me not to move. They had a machete around my neck, turned me and put me up against the bottom banisters. And while this was carrying on, the machete was still around my neck.
He's like a live teddy bear. He was just so cuddly, and he was so kind. He was like a human, but obviously as a dog. He was just amazing, and yeah.
We can see that dog on the screens there now, and the dog is now missing, and you obviously dearly would love to get Ozzy back. What can people do to help? Is there any distinctive marks, anything that may help the public out there to assist you in this noble search?
Yeah, well, he's got a scar on his back leg. Obviously, he'll reply to his name, Ozzy.
You can see on screen there, if you're watching at home, there is that distinctive mark. It looks like the back rear leg.
Yeah,
so the back right flank leg there, got that scar, beautiful pug. And I believe the local community have chipped in. They're trying their best to help you as well.
All over social media. They've been great.
GB News.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation,
no,
isn't it?
Because
the failure is...
You're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back.
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
And we do not shy away from the difficult stuff. Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood. So join me on Jubes & Co. weeknights at 6 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Westminster, the ultimate clique. And you're fighting like rats in a sack. But here on the Camilla Tominey Show, we ask the questions the establishment media is too scared to ask. OK, let me ask you a straight question, because I know you're a straight-talking politician. Whether it's net zero, illegal immigration or law and order, nothing is off limits. You had the power then.
Yeah, as I
and
say,
now you've lost it. That's the Camilla Tominey Show, a politics show that's fearless. But no, let me finish my question if you don't mind, because it is my show. Sundays at 9:30, only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Welcome back, everybody. Hey, look, this is the place to be. If you're not in the studio, then what the heck are you doing? Get yourself down here next week. But if you are at home thinking about joining the police force and you happen to be, as Hamza Yusuf would say, white, well, you're bang out of luck, my friend, because West Yorkshire Police triggered uproar this week as they blocked applications from white British candidates in an attempt to boost diversity within the force. Well, by the way, it already employs 19 officers responsible for diversity. Sorry, diversity, that's how you say it. Maybe I need to go on one of these courses. Diversity, equality and inclusion. 19 officers. They spent more than 1.4 million quid on backroom staff just to deal with diversity in their police force. Well, I've got some news for you, because Thames Valley Police looked at what happened in West Yorkshire and they said, I want a bit of that. And they've jumped on the diversity bandwagon, teaching officers about their white privilege as part of their latest round of equality training. So this training rollout came just 1 month after the same force had been found by an employment tribunal to have positively discriminated against white officers. Well, I just thought this is a good opportunity for us to go down the pub and see what Adam Brooks and Big Marcus make of this. So let's find out.
Been speaking to Marcus regarding the two stories in the news this week regarding police forces blocking white applicants and also sending their officers on white privilege courses. Marcus, what have you got to say?
Well, it annoys me, Adam, because all they're doing, they're creating more division. These woke bureaucrats are making things worse. They are causing the racism in this country. People like me are no different to people like you. We should all be treated the same. There's no difference. These people are making it worse for this country. They are the true racists.
Yeah, I mean, we haven't got enough police officers as it is, Marcus, so, you know, are they not causing a problem here?
Listen, the police force is dwindling day by day. Young police officers are leaving by the hour, by the minute. Why are they creating more problems? People are going to hear about this nonsense, and let's face it, there's not going to be many brown people who are going to join the force anyway.
What do we think about Big Marcus there? Would we like to see Big Marcus get his own show? But let's whiz ourselves over right to the front row here. Is it Chris, I believe? Hello, Chris. Yes. And what would you like to say on this?
Well, I noticed, I think it was on your show last night, that I can't comment on Thames Valley Police, but I noticed that West Yorkshire Police said, as a part of their right to reply, no candidates will be interviewed until the window has closed. How is that relevant? Does that mean that they will be taking all candidates, including white candidates, but from separate windows? Otherwise, how is that statement relevant in the right to reply?
Miriam, I'll get you on this, go on.
Well, I think what they mean is that normally they only recruit in certain windows, I don't know, 3 times a year, let's say, but they are saying that the recruitment window is always open to people from an ethnic minority background. So you can put your application in early, but you won't be considered until everybody else comes up for consideration. I think that's what they're saying. Not that that justifies it at all, but what they're saying is you can apply early, and I think there's a number of police forces that will even kind of give mentors to people from non-white backgrounds to take them through the process. Now, I mean, it is all so utterly ridiculous, and unfortunately it does seem now endemic within many different police forces, and it does undermine the police, and it undermines actually people from ethnic minorities applying to the police force, because now people will think they're only there because of positive discrimination, not on merit. So obviously it's completely ridiculous. But I do think there is an interesting question here. Are people discriminated against? Does it matter that different groups have different outcomes? Should we be aiming for the same outcomes across the board, or is actually there's much more going on? And if you look at the one group that really is disadvantaged in this country, least likely to do well at school, most likely to go to prison, most likely not to have a father, etc., 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 it's almost always white working-class boys. So if you're going to have some sort of positive programme to get representation, if you believe in that kind of thing, which I'm not sure I do, then it should be white working-class boys that you're targeting and not any other group.
OK, what do you make of that?
It just wouldn't happen, would it?
You think? Yeah. I believe, just because we're a bit squeezed for time in this section, I'm going to get straight to this other chap in the audience there. I've forgotten your name, so... go on, Ben. We'll pop the microphone next to your mouth if you can. Ben, thank you very much. What would you like to say on this, Ben?
Well, in the context of, you know, our sort of civil society, this is law enforcement we're talking about here, and it's absolutely incomprehensible, and it's difficult to think that it isn't somehow deliberate. I mean, for instance, if you think about men having money that's ring-fenced for them in the NHS because they want to go on leave because they're going through the menopause, this is absolutely incomprehensible. It's just difficult to come to any other conclusion that some kind of malign social engineering is
I think there definitely is. I mean, who asked for the police force to be more woke? Like, no one asked for this in the general public. It's sort of jobs created by bureaucrats, woke bureaucrats, as Marcus said, there, just for whose gain?
But I do think...
We'll get to this.
Sorry, Barry.
Yeah.
OK, just really quick.
I've lost control.
The thing is, right...
Family fortunes.
Don't sort of attack me, but I do think that in the NHS and in the police, there is actually a place for a small amount of diversity training, right? Now, the reason I say that is because there are certain crimes that might affect certain communities more. There are certain health conditions that might affect certain communities more. And I think being trained on those things, that would count as diversity training, is really important. This kind of nonsense, though, makes an appetite to get rid of it all. And I think that all of us would suffer if there wasn't a bit of it.
Barry, I wonder if this might backfire slightly, because in West Yorkshire, I believe the stats are something like 23% of the population is, they say, non-white. I mean, having been around the West Yorkshire area, I would suspect that the vast majority of that is the British Muslim community. If we don't then see an influx of applications from that community, that might basically backfire on the people who say the reason they're not there is because of racism, when in reality it might be that they don't really want to join the police force.
Yeah, no, look, I think I want to try and respond to what your audience members were saying, because we police by consent in this country. And I think where you have a population in a city, you've got a quarter of the population basically that is non-white. What you want is you want to feel, as you would want to feel, that your police force is as diverse as your population. So if you were living in that city and everybody in the police happened to be non-white and you were white, you might think, oh, that's a bit weird. Why am I in that situation? And in the same way, ethnic communities may well think, I want to know that I am equally represented in the police
It's impossible, though. We have immigration at hundreds of thousands, if not a million.
Emily,
how can we keep up with the demographic change when it comes to the police force or any other force?
I'm just trying to make the point.
It's crazy.
And what the gentleman was saying at the front row about are they banned? Emily's right. What's happening here is they're not banning white people from becoming police officers. What they're doing is they're saying we're going to wait, so you can't become a police officer yet until the end of that window is open for everyone to apply, and then, of course, they'll be done on merit. Nobody who is not...
That is not true, Barry.
Nobody
the College of Policing Guidance tells forces that they can give preference to recruits from an ethnic minority or another protected characteristic if they are equally qualified with a white candidate. But that's not fair. That's not fair. So they can sit there and choose the black candidate just because they're black. That's ridiculous.
No, not because they're black.
That's
because
ridiculous.
Black people are underrepresented.
No. If you've got
this isn't the way to solve that.
It's not the way to solve it, because how much resentment will that build for that white candidate who knows that they didn't get the job?
Is it building for the black candidate who's equally qualified?
If the black candidate is the better candidate, go for him. Pick the better candidate.
That's a wrap, because I'm about to get some serious resentment from my producer. So, a spokesman for West Yorkshire Police said the most recent... I mean, I've said this anyway. The most recent census found that 23% of the people in Yorkshire identified as being from an ethnic minority background. They are underrepresented. And I'm going to paraphrase it here. I'm very sorry, but they say this is all above board and everything's fine. Thames Valley Police spokesman says, we strive to be fair and courageous in how we serve our colleagues and the community. Oh, that was nice. They kept it brief. Right, OK. How would you feel about living in Shitterton or Cockermouth? Well, a village in Wales is wanting to return to its Welsh names, which translates as Pig Village. But I'm going to have a look at some of the most ridiculous places in the UK to live. There we go.
Hello, very good evening to you. Here's your latest GB News weather update coming to you from the Met Office. Whilst we are going to have a largely clear night tonight, we are going to see a bit of a change in our weather as we go through this weekend. That's because the high pressure that's been firmly in control of our weather through recent days does start to drift away towards the east, but for the time being it is still mostly dry. The exception being across the far north of Scotland, where there's a front lingering here bringing some cloud and a bit of rain. Elsewhere, lots of clear skies, and under these clear skies a few pockets of mist and fog, particularly towards the east, and again we could see temperatures dropping a fair bit. Perhaps not quite as chilly as some recent nights, but nonetheless a touch of frost is possible in some prone rural spots. So a fresh start to tomorrow morning, but also a bright sunny one for many places, the exception being, again, the far north of Scotland, Shetland, seeing some rain first thing. Otherwise, though, across much of Scotland, Northern Ireland, a good deal of bright, sunny weather to start the day, and it's a similar story across much of England and Wales. However, towards the southwest, here we're quite quickly going to see some cloud and some showery rain feeding its way in. Now, these showers are going to push their way northeastwards as we go through the day, initially across just really Devon and Cornwall and the southwestern tip of Wales, but they are going to become more widespread as we head into the afternoon. Some of these showers as well could be a little bit on the heavy side, particularly across parts of Wales and the southwest. Elsewhere, further north and east, a lot of dry and sunny weather, and temperatures, well, still in the low 20s, so feeling pretty warm indeed, but fresher from the west. More showery rain then pushes across most parts as we go overnight into Sunday. A lot of that then clears away towards the east through Sunday itself, but there will be a scattering of showers following in behind, albeit with some bright or sunny spells in between. More changeable weather to come as we go through next week. There will be some rain pushing through, and it could be a little bit heavy, perhaps even thundery at times as well. Bye-bye.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation, isn't it?
Because
the failure is...
You're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back.
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
And we do not shy away from the difficult stuff. Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood. So join me on Jubes & Co. weeknights at 6 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Good Afternoon Britain isn't just about us. The wonderful thing about this programme is it's about everyone watching. It's an interactive programme.
Well, there absolutely is something to see here, and we're going to be talking about it more.
Whether it's breaking royal news, please bring us up to date, or indeed a particularly punchy speech in the House of Commons.
Very, very curious.
We bring it to you live, and then we bring you live reaction as well.
That's Good Afternoon Britain, weekdays from midday.
Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Hello and welcome back to our wonderful live studio audience. Thank you very, very much. OK, so residents of Flintshire are squealing with anger tonight as there are plans to change the name of Northop Hall and reintroduce, apparently, its traditional Welsh name, which is Pentrimoch, which translates literally as Pig Village. So one local said it would turn the town into a, quote, laughingstock. Well, I have come up with some alternative locations for the residents of Pig Village to move to if they really care about it that much. So, here we go. One of them is Shitterton. So they could go there. It's in Dorset, lovely place, but it does whiff a bit on a warm day. Or how about Cockermouth in Cumbria? Well, let me tell you, if you thought that was a mouthful, you should try living in the Welsh town of Llanfair Pliging Goggery Chilchwer Drob Willansili Gog. No? Well, OK then. How about Brown Willie in Cornwall? Yeah, actually a place. That's also Broken Wind there, Broken Wind in Scotland. Apparently that used to be called No Wind, and then someone opened an Indian restaurant and it just changed. It just changed overnight, honestly, let me tell you. But if those places don't tickle your pickle, then you could always try any of the other hilarious place names in Britain, like Fanny Hands, Nether Wallet, Boggy Bottom, or Fingering Hoe. But don't go to Hampshire, just in case you get sandy balls. Oh, yes, OK. Well, let's go to my panel now. I mean, do residents have a right, do you think, to be concerned about their area being turned back into Pig Village? Christo, I think you're probably the man for this particular crisis.
Sorry, I'm just... Brown Willie? Did you say I'm just on Google Maps? I'm sorry.
Now. We were already in the gutter.
Because I'm interested in different places. No, I think that the residents should have a say, and it shouldn't be something that just gets sort of rushed through. Sometimes these consultations are complete shams. So if residents don't want to live... What is it?
Pig Village.
Pig Village. If residents don't want to live in a pig village, then they shouldn't live in a pig village. If they do, then they should.
But we can't have two pig villages, because we've already got a pig village in Scotland.
No.
Yes, it's called Auchtermachty, isn't it? Our Scottish friends.
Oh, I wouldn't know.
You look for a wee bit of support from your comrades in Scotland, and what do you get?
Nothing.
Oh, I don't know, mate. Auchtermachty means pig village.
Oh, so if anything, it's got a copyright issue.
Yeah, absolutely. We're not having two of them. You Sassnacks aren't getting our Auchtermachty.
I feel like it's good for tourism, though. I mean, people must come to these roadsides and have selfies next to them, so I don't think it's too bad.
No.
I think they should own it. Yeah. You know? Yeah, I live in Pig Village, and what?
Yeah.
Also, it's going to be only in Welsh, and no one speaks Welsh, right? Or outside Wales, obviously.
But they have to look at it.
Did you really say no one speaks Welsh?
English people speak Welsh, so they're not going to think badly of this village because it's called Pig Village in Welsh, are they?
Don't go for your holidays in Carmarthen.
The only word isn't the Welsh for microwave popdy ping. That's right. And the only reason I know the word araf is because it's on roads, isn't it? And it means slow down. And I learnt that just after I got speeding tickets. What does that araf mean? And it was like, it means you've just got 3 points, mate. So there you go. Well, anyway, okay. Well, I thought we'd round off the hour with a little bit of light relief, anyway. But I have got a heck of a lot more coming your way. GBNews' Charlie Peters, in much more serious stories now, revealed that rape gangs were operating in at least 50 towns and cities. The Prime Minister accused opposition MPs of jumping on a far-right bandwagon and then amplifying what the far-right is saying, all of that stuff. Well, there's been an update today from Charlie Peters. He spoke exclusively to a police officer who said that he was told to stop investigating the grooming gangs crisis. So we're going to be playing you that clip, or he'd be arrested. So seriously, a police officer said that he was told he'd be arrested if he carried on investigating it. So we're going to be talking about all of that, but we've also got something, I don't know, just a little bit mysterious. I mean, I don't know what on earth this could be about.
Emily, I'm really excited to be on Patrick's panel tonight on the show, and I've also got a bit of a special announcement for you, so stay tuned.
Oh, wow, we'll have to wait and stay tuned to find out. I'll see you in just a couple of minutes.
A positive outlook through the night will power through to a bright day ahead. Boxed home battery storage, sponsors of weather on GB News.
Hello, very good evening to you. Here's your latest GB News weather update coming to you from the Met Office. Whilst we are going to have a largely clear night tonight, we are going to see a bit of a change in our weather as we go through this weekend. That's because the high pressure that's been firmly in control of our weather through recent days does start to drift away towards the east, but for the time being it is still mostly dry. The exception being across the far north of Scotland, where there's a front lingering here bringing some cloud and a bit of rain. Elsewhere, lots of clear skies, and under these clear skies a few pockets of mist and fog, particularly towards the east, and again we could see temperatures dropping a fair bit. Perhaps not quite as chilly as some recent nights, but nonetheless a touch of frost is possible in some prone rural spots. So a fresh start to tomorrow morning, but also a bright sunny one for many places, the exception being, again, the far north of Scotland, Shetland, seeing some rain first thing. Otherwise, though, across much of Scotland, Northern Ireland, a good deal of bright, sunny weather to start the day, and it's a similar story across much of England and Wales. However, towards the southwest, here we're quite quickly going to see some cloud and some showery rain feeding its way in. Now, these showers are going to push their way northeastwards as we go through the day, initially across just really Devon and Cornwall and the southwestern tip of Wales, but they are going to become more widespread as we head into the afternoon. Some of these showers as well could be a little bit on the heavy side, particularly across parts of Wales and the southwest. Elsewhere, further north and east, a lot of dry and sunny weather, and temperatures, well, still in the low 20s, so feeling pretty warm indeed, but fresher from the west. More showery rain then pushes across most parts as we go overnight into Sunday. A lot of that then clears away towards the east through Sunday itself, but there will be a scattering of showers following in behind, albeit with some bright or sunny spells in between. More changeable weather to come as we go through next week. There will be some rain pushing through, and it could be a little bit heavy, perhaps even thundery at times as well. Bye-bye.
A positive outlook through the night will power through to a bright day ahead. Boxed home battery storage, sponsors of weather on GB News.
Courtesy of Marquis Leisure, you could be driving away with this brand new Elnag Baron 560 motorhome. It comfortably sleeps 4, comes with sky roof, integrated kitchen and bathroom, and is worth over £67,000. And that's not all, as we'll also give you a further £5,000 in tax-free cash to make sure that wherever this motorhome takes you, it takes you there in style. For a chance to win a motorhome and cash, text WIN to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message, or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB13 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 6th of June. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand.
We're proud to be GB News, the People's Channel, and as you know, we always love to hear your views. Now, there's a new way of getting in touch with us at gbnews.com/yoursay. By commenting, you can be part of a live conversation and join our GB News community. You can even talk to me, Bev Turner, or any of the members of the GB News family.
Join me, Nana Akwe, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun.
No, he didn't say that, Dave.
I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Headliners on GB News 11 p.m. every night. It's got 3 top comedians going through the next day's newspapers so you don't have to read them, which is great.
That's a good point. He's lying. Maybe he's not lying.
That's Headliners every night from 11 p.m. and 5 a.m. as well on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Edinburgh. Good luck. Thank you very much. And who was just famous then? You were. Your mug was front of the pages everywhere. Right, OK, my wonderful panel. Thank you to my wonderful studio audience. Thank you to my wonderful panel. We've got the Labour MP for Brent West, Barry Gardner. We've got former Tory MP Miriam Cates. We've got broadcasting royalty Christo Foufas. We've got GBNews superstar Emily Carver. There we go. Yes, OK. Well, we've got a load coming your way. We've got a bit of this.
She said, if you continue to follow our children, I'm going to have you arrested. I just couldn't believe what was going on.
A police officer has told GB News that he was told to stop investigating the grooming gangs, otherwise he'd be arrested. Plus...
Have you watched Adolescence yet?
No, I haven't. I probably won't. It's a film on Netflix, and most of my time right now is spent visiting the country.
I think we might get stuck into the insufferable BBC, and...
Oh, we're out in Benidorm in March. Look at the weather. Beautiful weather.
My holiday video has been released, but find out why the Spanish are kicking off about Brits in Benidorm also. Well, there's a little bit on hypocrite Prince Harry saying that Britain's far too dangerous, but he's swanned off to the war zone that is Ukraine. Find out as well why one Welsh town wants to change its name because of these little guys. And I wonder what on earth this could be about.
Emily, I'm really excited to be on Patrick's panel tonight on the show, and I've also got a bit of a special announcement for you, so stay tuned.
Well, and still with me are my wonderful studio audience. Hello, everybody. Yes, I am particularly looking forward to this hour. We're going to be doing the absolute lot of it after your bulletins with Sam Francis.
Patrick, thank you, and good evening to you. 2 minutes past 10, the top story tonight. The Prime Minister says the government's move to take control of British Steel's Scunthorpe plant is about keeping all options open as it tries to secure the site's future. Speaking ahead of tomorrow's emergency debate in Parliament, Sir Keir Starmer said legislation will allow ministers to take control of the plant and make sure all viable options stay on the table. He said the decision was necessary now, with talks over the long-term future expected to carry on for some time. And pressed on whether the move is effectively nationalisation, he didn't give a clear yes or no, but said it's about acting now to protect jobs and production. He also didn't confirm how much the plan would cost or why similar action wasn't taken to save the Port Talbot steelworks. Well, let's bring you an update on the markets tonight. Wall Street has ended a volatile week on a slightly brighter note, closing today with gains across all three major indexes, though still well below pre-tariff levels. Those figures then, the S&P 500 climbing 1.81%, the Dow Jones rising 1.56%, and the tech-heavy Nasdaq leading the rebound this week, ending on 2.06 up. But markets remain shaken by President Trump's surprise tariffs, which have, of course, sent shockwaves through global trading. Well, now, the latest developments, 6 senior Democrats are demanding answers from Donald Trump and calling for an investigation into whether he and or his allies may have profited from the market chaos, suggesting the president may have previewed his tariff pause on social media before making the official announcement. Back here at home, Michael Gove is heading for the House of Lords, topping a list of politicians named in Rishi Sunak's resignation honours. The former cabinet minister, who served under 4 prime ministers, joins a wave of people rewarded in Sunak's exit from the political stage. Among them, former Chancellor Jeremy Hunt and ex-Foreign Secretary James Cleverly receiving knighthoods. And peerages go to former Chief Whip Simon Hart and ex-Scottish Secretary Sir Alistair Jack. That is despite Jack's involvement in a row over betting on the general election date, which he denies breached any rules. Reminder on that news we brought you in the last hour that teachers in England have overwhelmingly rejected the government's 2.8% pay offer and say they are ready to strike. In a preliminary vote by the NEU, nearly 94% said that no to a deal, with over 83% backing industrial action to demand a higher, fully funded pay rise. Union leaders say years of below-inflation pay and growing workloads have created a recruitment and retention crisis in schools. But the Education Secretary has called the threat of strikes indefensible and urged the union to put children first. And perhaps my favourite story of the day so far, salmon on anxiety medication. Yes, you heard me right, could be taking life a little too lightly. That's according to a new study that says fish are getting more reckless in polluted waterways. Researchers found that traces of clobazam, a drug used to treat anxiety in humans, are ending up in rivers and changing how salmon behave. Instead of sticking with their shoals, the medicated fish, poor things, are wandering off solo and even leapt straight into hydroelectric plants without hesitation. The study published in Science saw salmon exposed to the same level of drug found in contaminated water, and they say the findings are a worrying sign of how human medication could be disrupting life beneath the water. I knew my salmon tasted strange earlier. That's the latest from me. I'll be back with you at 11.
For the very latest GB News direct to your smartphone, sign up to News Alerts by scanning the QR code or go to gbnews.com/alerts.
Well, welcome along. Thanks again to my wonderful live studio audience. We've got a full house tonight, and we've got a full bingo card of topics. Now, I want to talk about something very, very serious. It's been in the news all week. But I just want to ask you first, do you think that these Pakistani rape gangs are a massive issue in Britain?
Yes.
Right, OK. Who in this audience thinks that Labour are potentially trying to cover up a grooming gang scandal?
Yes.
Right. Well, GBNews' Charlie Peters revealed that rape gangs were operating in at least 50 towns and cities across Britain back in January. It caused a massive hoo-ha, and then the Prime Minister accused opposition MPs of jumping on a bandwagon and amplifying what the far right is saying. Then they realised they'd really screwed that up. So Yvette Cooper did this.
So Tom Crowther, KC, chair of the Telford inquiry, has agreed to work with the government to develop a new framework for victim-centred, locally led inquiries.
Oh, so we think, good, we're going to get all these inquiries, don't we? But then Jess Phillips, who happens to have a 37% Muslim population in her seat and only won by about 800 votes at the last election, miraculously decided to pull the rug on it.
Following feedback from local authorities, the fund will adopt a flexible approach.
So this led to people like journalist and, for what it's worth, Labour Party member Trevor Phillips saying that they only did it to appease the Muslim vote and cover up the potential crimes of Labour councillors. Today, a retired police officer told GB News that he was threatened with arrest if he kept investigating the grooming gangs.
She said, if you continue to follow our children, I'm going to have you arrested. I just couldn't believe what was going on.
And this, I think, is why we need that full inquiry, because it's absolutely monstrous what's going on. But this topic, I guarantee you, is going to be spoken about this evening in every single pub up and down the country. Let's go to the Three Colts with Adam Brooks to find out what's on people's lips there.
Here with Marcus, and we've been speaking about the Labour Party and the grooming gang scandal. For us to get the truth, there needs to be a national inquiry where people are forced under oath to go to court and tell the truth. Marcus, what do you think?
Well, I think you know and I know, Adam, that this is not going to go anywhere. There'll be no justice for these young women who got raped by these gangs.
OK, well, there we go. It's a massive topic of the week. I'm going to get the thoughts of my panel. I also want, of course, the thoughts of my wonderful studio audience. Now, there's a gentleman called Alan, I think, is that right?
That's
on the
right.
front row there. Ron, what would you like to say in relation to all of this, then?
Well, Patrick, before I ask a question, and I have a question to ask of Barry, before I ask that question, I want to say that I think Charlie Peters has done an absolutely fabulous job. He's shone a light on something that is an absolute cesspit of depravity, and it needs further light shining on it, and I hope he doesn't give up. I really hope that. Now, Barry, my question to you is, why is Labour ducking this issue? Why does the Prime Minister constantly change his mind and then fiddle around with overseas nonsense so that he doesn't have to address it? Why is it that Jess Phillips suddenly changes her mind? Why does your government make promises and then go back on them and pull the rug on what they promised to do originally? What are they frightened of? What is there hiding underneath? Now, I happen to think there's an awful lot hiding underneath. I think this is Jimmy Savile 100 times worse, and everybody there tried to cover up until somebody actually pulled it out into the open and made something out of it. I'd like to know from you what your government and your party is going to do to actually bring justice to more than 1,500 girls
Oh, at least. Well, at least, yes, 100%. Go on.
Alan, let me start off. Let me start off by telling you what we've done, because the Professor Jay's inquiry, the national inquiry that did take place, had 20 recommendations. For 3 years, the previous government didn't implement a single one of them. We implemented the Jay recommendations in the legislation that we put through previously. Okay? When we came into government, that's one of the first things that we did. We then said, and actually, if you listen carefully to what was said on the clip, it talked about conducting local inquiries. And that, my understanding, is that is still what we're doing. And the reason for doing local inquiries is because local inquiries are more likely to get...
They get to choose whether or not they want one.
Yeah,
and the problem with that, Barry, is that people on those councils may be complicit in the actual
cover up what you want to cover up, yeah?
My understanding is that we promised local inquiries. We've said there will be local inquiries. And the way of doing that, the reason for doing that, rather, is so that we can actually get local people, local knowledge, and identify the local culprits to precisely do what I think everybody in this room would want, and that is to hold the people responsible to account for the very depraved...
The problem is, Barry, that the Alexis Jay inquiry was not an inquiry into these...
No,
exactly. It was all child sexual abuse is appalling, and it was mainly an inquiry into boarding schools, churches, or obviously also appalling, but a completely different crime and different level of organisation and cover-up.
And that's why we said that we would do the new inquiry.
As Patrick has said, it's very clear that many senior officials, officers, councillors were at least... had knowledge of these crimes, if not were directly complicit. There's absolutely no way that an inquiry conducted locally by a local authority with all the local lawyers and all the local police who have all known about this for a long time is going to produce any sort of results. It's just not good enough. Now, whether or not a national inquiry will do what we want is, an open question.
Sorry, I want to hear from this side a little bit. Emily, what's your view on the end?
Well, I think it looks very dodgy, to say the least, that Labour seem to be ducking and diving on this issue. And it's so clear that people like Jess Phillips and Yvette Cooper find it incredibly difficult to talk about the demographic issue, to talk about the Pakistani element of these rape gangs. And that's the key thing. They very easily talk about child sexual exploitation as a whole, which includes the church, which includes schools, which includes all sorts of things that are going on in people's homes and everything. This is a specific type of grooming and child sexual exploitation that is still taking place to this day. The Jay report was not good enough. You can't use that as a win on this because it's not relevant. It mentions one grooming gang victim and it doesn't talk about the areas where this is happening. 50 towns and cities.
Emily,
it did not investigate those.
I agree with what Miriam said. It was looking at something different, but it was looking at grooming. Right.
But it's not.
And it was.
It's not holding anyone account.
There were
That's the issue. We want people to be held to account.
Yeah, I agree.
If you can't force councillors, police, authorities to come and give evidence, then you're not going to get anywhere.
It's also relevant when it comes to certain things that are in the news at the moment, like an airport in Mirpur. Now, Mirpur happened to be one of the hotspots where people who were grooming gangs, who were part of the rape gangs, were coming from. And so I think it might be nice to have a report that details the exact nature of that demographic of people so that we can make an informed decision as the British population about whether or not we do want to increase the level of flights we have from Mirpur, actually. That will be my view on it, but Christo, what's yours?
OK, so I have been also a journalist that has been talking about this for a long time. Back in 2016, 9 years ago, I was part of a team that put Sammy Woodhouse, Maggie Oliver on OTV Daytime. The night that Hugh Edwards was actually convicted, I did a late-night show where I was talking actually about the 20 Pakistani Muslim men who had been convicted, who slipped under the radar. And I think Charlie Peters, to his credit, was the only other journalist that was talking about that at the time. So this has been spoken about for years, and nothing really significantly seems to have changed. Now, there are some facts around this that we need to face. Firstly, if you are if you are someone who, on a local or a national level, knew that this was happening and suppressed it being investigated properly, you are complicit and you are criminal, firstly. Secondly, there needs to be an investigation, and it's tough to think about this because I think overall we're a really tolerant and kind society. But there needs to be a specific investigation about whether there is something within the culture of Pakistani Muslim men particularly, and not all of them are complicit in this, but whether there is something within that contributed to them carrying out these crimes, whether there is something concerning the religion that makes them carry out the crimes, the hate crime element towards white people, all of those uncomfortable things need to be properly investigated. Otherwise, we are never going to solve it.
I do wonder, Barry, I will put this to you, and by the way, this involves an independent MP, not a Labour MP. I'm very, very clear, independent MP for Blackburn. But there are concerns that there are aspects of the Labour Party that are very, very, very concerned about the quotes-unquote Muslim vote, not least parts of Birmingham, what we've been speaking about, obviously places in Rochdale, places in Rotherham, all of that stuff. And earlier on, 2 days ago, there was an MP, Adnan Hussein, who's this independent MP for Blackburn. Blackburn, massive Muslim population, as anyone who's ever been there will know. He says, I can assure you that Pakistanis want an inquiry and justice for the victims as much as everyone else. And then he got community noted on X, because it turned out, shock horror everyone, that Adnan Hussein abstained from voting for a full government inquiry. And is this not part of the problem, Barry, that people say things like, we all want to get to the bottom of it.
That's
we
bad,
all really want it. And actually, you had a chance to vote on it. People didn't vote for it, and people didn't vote for it because they were worried that it would cost them their local seat because the Muslim vote might then vote against them.
Right. Again, let's establish some facts. There was no vote to get an independent inquiry. It was an amendment that was put down to the Labour motion, which was going to implement the recommendations of the J inquiry, which would have wiped that off the table, but would not have implemented a separate inquiry. I just want to say that because that's the facts. Okay, if it's right that having a local inquiry, because it's involving local people, presumably it'd be externals who are conducting that inquiry, but if you're saying that actually having a local inquiry will not get to the bottom of it because they are local people who may have been complicit in it, then I don't see how a national inquiry is going to pierce that. I think you've got much more chance if you're at the local level, getting out into the community, finding the people who are prepared to talk. What? No, because it would be an external person conducting the inquiry. It wouldn't be the local leader of the council or the local...
I don't think that's what we're getting. I'm not sure that's what's on offer, Barry, anymore.
I'm just trying to make the point that I don't see how a national inquiry is going to pierce that veil.
No, sorry about this, because we are way over, but just if you've got a very quick final point to round us off, and there's no questions, just a point, quickly.
The statutory powers are not the same, and there's no enforcement.
Right, OK, well there is a big strength of feeling about this, and, you know, I think the overwhelming impression is that maybe perhaps certain figures in the Labour Party have bottled this a bit on this one. But a West Yorkshire police spokesperson said this: we have searched our systems and can find no meeting or reports of child exploitation made by a particular person. Not quite sure who we're referring to here. Since the publication of the J report in 2014, West Yorkshire Police has taken a proactive stance in exploring previous incidents and disclosures relating to non-recent child sexual exploitation. Bradford Council have been contacted for comment as well. We haven't heard back from them. A Home Office spokesperson said this: it is wholly wrong to claim that the government is cancelling local child sexual abuse inquiries. We will pursue justice for victims without fear or favour, and claims that we would not do so to avoid offending any group are false. We are providing £5 million to help support local inquiries so we can deliver the meaningful change that we deserve. Right, OK, well, there we go. That's the endless level of rights of replies that we've gone for there. Thank you very much. I know it's a bit of a heavy start to the hour, but it is a topic that obviously I think most people really do care about, and it's a very important topic. But a certain Netflix documentary has got a lot of people talking recently, including us here at GB News. Look, when we come back, I want you to see if this is more for the people at home or listening on radio, but can you figure out exactly what it is that we're going to be talking about when we come back?
As the head of BBC News, it is an honour and a privilege to be able to decide the first ever BBC Best Person in Britain award. So, let's meet the nominees. Let's just take a seat for me, please. How are you?
Yeah, good, thanks. How are you?
Good, lovely to see you. So it says here
You've cured cancer. All of it, all by yourself. Nobody will ever die of cancer again because of you. How do you feel about that?
Thank you, yeah. I mean, it's pretty fantastic, and my work has changed.
Have you ever watched Adolescence? Netflix, Adolescence, have you watched it?
No.
Documentary, Adolescence?
Never.
Right, well, I'm going to stop you there, Eleanor. You make me sick. Next. How are you?
Hello, Patrick. Lovely to see you.
Oh, it's even better to see you. It says here, you swam single-handedly across the Atlantic Ocean. First man to ever do it, and you raised £20 million for Save the Children. So, I mean, that's amazing, isn't it?
Yeah, it's the toughest day I've ever had, but raising that money was an incredible day for me. The hardest day I've ever had.
Have you ever watched Adolescence?
What?
The Netflix documentary, Adolescence. Have you seen it?
No.
I'm going to have to stop you there, Henry, and I'm going to say this to you now, and I want you to know it. It's taking every single fibre of my being not to leap across that desk and smash your face in. Next. Maria, take a seat. Oh, it's great to see you. Thanks for coming in. So, you went to the front line in the Democratic Republic of Congo and delivered babies, saving the lives of countless women and children. I mean, gosh, it must have been dangerous.
Oh, it was incredibly dangerous. There was bullets flying from every direction. Landmines could have taken us out at any moment, but it was worth it.
Have you watched Adolescence?
No.
The Netflix documentary Adolescence. Adolescence, have you seen it? I think you're scum. Next. Right, okay, next. Hello, who are you?
I'm James.
Hi, James, nice to meet you. Oh, well, actually, it says that you saved an entire family from a house fire.
No, I started the fire.
What?
I just love fire. I think it's great. One of my favourite things. Set fire to a primary school last week. Thinking about doing a church on the way home after this. See if we've got time.
I think you might be in the wrong place, mate. Just while I've got you, have you watched Adolescence?
Adolescence? Yeah, I saw that recently. In fact, thought it was one of the best things I've watched this year.
Well, if you've watched Adolescence and enjoyed it, great documentary, then I think we have a winner, don't we? Best person in Britain, hey!
Good Afternoon Britain isn't just about us. The wonderful thing about this programme is it's about everyone watching. It's an interactive programme.
Well, there absolutely is something to see here, and we're going to be talking about it more. Whether it's breaking royal news, please bring us up to date, or indeed a particularly punchy speech in the House of Commons.
Very, very curious.
We bring it to you live, and then we bring you live reaction as well.
That's Good Afternoon Britain, weekdays from midday.
Only on GBNews, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation,
no,
isn't it?
No,
because the failure is
you're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back.
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
And we do not shy away from the difficult stuff. Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood. So join me on Dubes & Co. weeknights at 6 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Dubes & Co. weekdays from 6 p.m.
This is the sport of fencing. A female competitor who has been asked to fence a trans competitor takes the knee and shows her opponent some respect, but says the following: "I'm sorry, I cannot do this. I am a woman, and this is a man, and this is a woman's tournament, and I will not fence this individual." The female athlete was then shown the black card and was disqualified. The fencing authority, they're saying that they've got a transgender and non-binary athlete policy. It was designed to expand across to the sport of fencing to create inclusive and safe spaces. They say that it's based on the principle that everyone should have the ability to participate in sports, and ultimately they will always err on the side of inclusion. Kelvin McKenzie, I was so proud of that girl because she's going to get a monumental backlash now, believe you me. I've never understood why more female athletes have not turned around and said, with respect, you know, with dignity, I respect you as a person, but as a sporting competitor, this is not fair and therefore I shall not partake.
Yes.
Well, she's brave. She's also brave because the trans lobby is enormously powerful and vile. The thing I couldn't understand about it is why the fencing authorities who run that sport haven't acted in the same way as the athletic authorities have it done in this country. They basically said we're not going to run trans people against whichever sex that they want to be in, because they dominate it. They dominate it through their power. And imagine what would happen in women's rugby, for instance. Just think about that.
GBNews, the People's Channel.
Mornings don't have to be tiresome, especially if you have the right company.
Wake up to news as it happens, opinion and debate, and of course, a little bit of entertainment too.
Because when the kettle's on, we're on.
That's Breakfast on GB News, a show worth waking up for.
Every morning from 6 a.m.
Only on the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
We'll spread the news, you spread the word.
Well, back we come. Happy Friday, everybody. This really is the place to be for a Friday night. I hope to see loads of you, if you're watching or listening on telly, in this very studio next Friday. Now, you just saw us discussing the Netflix series Adolescence before the break. Well, Tory leader Kemi Badenoch, who, by the way, I think has had a very good week, actually, which is rare, but has slammed the BBC Breakfast yesterday because... well, she admitted that she didn't watch Adolescence and has no plans to. Should we just take a look at the way that the BBC decided to treat this?
Have you watched Adolescence yet?
No, I haven't. I probably won't. It's a film on Netflix, and most of my time right now is spent visiting the country.
Yeah, Nagamon Chetty went on to call it a documentary, right? Seriously, with a straight face. Not once, I think, but twice. Absolutely unbelievable. Let me just take a little straw poll here, first and foremost, right? Who in this room has watched Adolescence? Yes, right. There's a look on a man's face there that tells me he's not watching it out of principle now. I wish I could go back and unwatch it. I watched it at the time. And I was like, oh, this is a good drama.
You loved it.
And then it became this massive thing, and I was like, oh, flipping heck. I'd moved on. I was watching Married at First Sight after it. Well, that was one thing. Now we've moved on from it. Then all of a sudden, it's been beamed into the House of Commons, and he can't escape it. Have you watched Adolescence? Anyway, there's a gentleman here who would like to make a point out of it. So go on, sir. What would you like to say?
I thought Adolescence was a very gripping, well-acted, fictional series. And really, my question to the panel was, why? Why is the BBC, why are senior members of the government calling it a documentary? And isn't that dangerous?
It is dangerous. Well done, sir. Emily, do you want to start on Adolescence, or...?
Why do I think they're calling it a documentary? I think it suits a narrative that any boy out there can become a dangerous threat to women simply because they watch the wrong thing, or because they're taught the wrong thing at school, or because they're indoctrinated by Andrew Tate, rather than looking at perhaps deeper reasons why that might be the case. I think it's just an easy distraction, really, for politicians to focus on this, make a big thing about it, and not address other reasons why people might be deeply misogynistic.
Miriam?
Well, I think it's captured people's imagination, because although it's not a true story, what drama isn't? I mean, if EastEnders was only allowed to portray true storyline, it'd be deathly boring, wouldn't it? So it's not, of course,
they'd
not
have
true.
washing machines.
They'd have washing machines. It's not a true story, but it contains truth, and that's why it's gripped people. And of course, the boy in the series who comes from a home where his dad is present and clearly loves him is not the typical person who will go on to offend like that. It's absolutely true statistically. But there are boys in that situation who do that. And as part of the Lost Boys project, we spoke to parents of boys like this, and it is a fact that the internet, particularly pornography and misogynistic content, is brutalising young boys. And if you speak to primary school teachers, the language, the actions that they've heard from little boys, what they do to girls, you cannot argue that growing up immersed in pornography is not affecting boys. It is. It's a crisis, it's an emergency, and we've just been talking in the break. 850 men a month now are being arrested for possessing child sexual abuse.
Yeah.
How many children at the end of this?
For grooming.
For grooming. We cannot argue that the
Hang on, we're jumping around all sorts.
No impact on young people.
I do. All of that is incredibly valid. Obviously, it is. But what I found absolutely bonkers, Barry, was that the BBC had the leader of the opposition there. We had all sorts of stuff going on in the news, and they revisited a story from at least 2 weeks ago about Kemi Badenoch, where she'd not watched Adolescence, and then they hauled her over the coals for it and called it a documentary. I mean, doesn't that tell you everything you need to know about how out of touch the BBC is?
We have a form of movie which is a docudrama. That's clearly what it is. Docudrama. It's supposed to portray some of the things that are happening in real life, but in a dramatic way and not true in every detail. Fine. And I think it was. I've only seen the first episode. I haven't gone on to.
Well, how dare you, Barry? I'm sorry.
You're not welcome.
So if the BBC want to throw the book at me, I plead guilty.
You come on a show like this having not consumed every single millisecond of Adolescence.
Oh God, there we go. That's my political career ruined. I haven't watched every episode. Don't worry, BBC, I will. I promise. But look, I think the serious point is here, and Emily, you said instead of maybe looking at the real reasons, well,
they weren't quizzing Kemi Badenoch on grooming gangs, were they, for example?
But what I'm saying is, what are the reasons? Because what Miriam's saying is 850 men each month from all walks of life, from all colours, all backgrounds, all races, all religions, whether they're a TV presenter or a priest, are being arrested for grooming kids.
Fine. But watching Adolescence does not make you more likely to be able to understand that.
But it picks up on a truth that parents are very worried about.
Just sort of really quick, the story here is not Adolescence being brilliant and coming up with the real reasons why some young boys end up in that situation. The story is that there are other dramas on Netflix, for instance, Top Boy, which is brilliant at looking at why young black men end up in gangs, might end up in drug culture, might end up stabbing each other. There was no hysteria after that saying to every politician they should be watching it. And that, I think, is the issue.
Can I explain to you why it has got so much attention? And I'm not saying all that attention is good, and I also think it's ridiculous to expect Kemi Badenoch to watch it, partly because she's already said she thinks smartphones are really bad for kids, so she clearly is interested in this issue. But I'll tell you why. It's because parents of teenagers are terrified and they feel powerless because they don't know what their kids are consuming. And people say, oh, it's parenting. No, you can't control your teenagers. That's not what adolescence is for. Adolescence is a time for being able to take risks, for becoming more independent. But if you're doing that independence in a wild west where you might see a beheading and a rape any minute, that's not freedom.
Okay, very quickly. So, you had the microphone a second ago. Just say, how do you feel about what you've heard here? And then we're going to have to move on.
Just one point on it being a docudrama. I kind of disagree with that. Just to be a bit finicky, then so many TV programmes like EastEnders could be a docudrama. It's because they cover serious issues and sometimes very, very well. So, I still contest the documentary piece.
OK, fair enough. That man will not be moved. So there we go. All right, well, look, thank you again, everybody. Wonderful stuff so far. And it is, of course, now time for the Great British Giveaway. It's your chance to win a brand new motorhome. It's worth £67,000. And Barry, can I ask, do you remember how much cash from last week we were giving away with it as well?
17,777.
That was last week's. No. Don't.
£5 grand.
£5,000 off. If you're watching, it is not 17,000. Go on, take it away.
Don't miss out on your chance to win our biggest prize package ever, worth over £72,000. You could spend your summer touring the beautiful British Isles and exploring the great outdoors in this Elnag Baron 560 motorhome. This brand new 2025 model, supplied by our prize partners Marquis Leisure, sleeps 4 people, has its own integrated kitchen and bathroom and a living space that can accommodate up to 5. Plus, we'll also give you a £5,000 cash boost to kit it out and make it the perfect home from home for you and your family. For a chance to win a motorhome and cash, text WIN to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus 1 standard network rate message. Or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus 1 standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB13 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 6th of June. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
Good luck, everyone. It is also a £5,000 cash prize you can win. But sorry, Barry, what was that?
No, I'm a bit shady about this. I wonder if it really is a new motorhome. You're not getting rid of Nicola Sturgeon's cast-offs.
Yeah. One careful owner. One careful owner, everybody. Yeah. Anyway, so as Easter holidays began, more than 40 demonstrations were held across Spain last weekend, many with the message, tourists not welcome. Well, let's take a closer look at what's driving this movement, OK? Why are Brits abroad so unpopular?
Emily, I'm really excited to be on Patrick's panel tonight on the show, and I've also got a bit of a special announcement for you, so stay tuned.
I'm really sorry. I threw to the wrong clip. Oh, sorry. OK, well, we'll find out what Emily was talking about very, very shortly. Sorry.
I forecast a perfect holiday in the sun.
Weather looking good then?
For sure, and no worries about our travel insurance.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GBNews Travel Destinations Forecast.
If you've got holiday plans for Iberia, unfortunately there are spells of rain around at the moment and that will continue through the weekend. For Greece, however, it's mostly bright but with a keen breeze, and Italy's faring well on Saturday with plenty of sunny skies. A few showers dotted about through the Mediterranean, and then for Spain, as well as Portugal, Madeira and the Canary Islands, spells of rain and heavy showers are expected to continue through the weekend, staying sunny in Santorini.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GBNews Travel Destinations Forecast.
Mornings don't have to be tiresome, especially if you have the right company.
Wake up to news as it happens, opinion and debate, and of course, a little bit of entertainment too.
Because when the kettle's on, we're on.
That's Breakfast on GB News, a show worth waking up for.
Every morning from 6 a.m.
Only on the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
We'll spread the news, you spread the word.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation, isn't it?
Because
the failure is...
You're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back.
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
And we do not shy away from the difficult stuff.
Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood.
So join me on Jubes & Co. weeknights at 6 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
The royal family is an enduring symbol of tradition, unity and pride for Britain. At GB News, we celebrate what makes this country great. In our new royal newsletter series, you can join me, Cameron Walker, for Inside the Palace, an exclusive look every week that takes you beyond the gates and brings you the very latest from those at the heart of the monarchy. Never miss a royal moment again. Sign up now. Go to gbnews.com/royal newsletter and get the latest straight to your inbox.
Good Afternoon Britain isn't just about us. The wonderful thing about this programme is it's about everyone watching. It's an interactive programme.
Well, there absolutely is something to see here, and we're going to be talking about it more. Whether it's breaking royal news, please bring us up to date, or indeed a particularly punchy speech in the House of Commons.
Very, very curious.
We bring it to you live, and then we bring you live reaction as well.
That's Good Afternoon Britain, weekdays from midday.
Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
If you want your news to be straight talking...
This is a nightmare for the Conservatives again.
Down to earth.
It's not just Nottingham where this is happening, is it?
And most importantly, honest.
Hard-working, middle-class taxpayers, they'll get their book thrown at them.
Then catch me, Martin Daubney, Monday to Friday, 3 till 6 p.m. on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Join me, Nana Akwe, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun.
No, he didn't say that, Dave. I'm so surprised. I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
the GB newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK,
we're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News,
the People's Channel,
Britain's news channel.
Welcome back, everybody, to my live studio audience. Now, the behaviour of Brits abroad has drawn fierce criticism over the years, unfairly in my view, with scenes of lager louts and boozy brawls leading the Spanish to push back against tourism in another round of furious protests. So as the Easter holidays kicked off, more than 40 demonstrations took place across Spain last weekend saying tourists not welcome. Oh, it's nice they took time off the siestas, isn't it, to go out there and do that. But anyway, 150,000 seething Spaniards reportedly gathered in Madrid alone. But with tourism contributing 200 billion quid to Spain's economy each year, equivalent to 12% of their entire GDP, would they honestly cope without us Brits? And do Brits in particular deserve this terrible reputation? So there's a lady on the front row here, of course, who has always, you can just tell, behaved herself wherever she's gone. Absolutely. Go on, what would you like to say on this issue?
Well, I understand it's not very pleasant for residents to live with this happening there. But at the same time, they need the Brits, they need the tourists, they need them, they need all the money they spend there. So their economy would suffer hugely if we stopped going there. But I think they need to work with them, and maybe it needs to have like a happy medium or do something to work with them to try and maybe tame them and take it back a bit.
Yeah,
something. But they need them.
But they've catered for us, though, haven't they?
Yeah,
I mean,
that's
they've
the
literally
problem.
designed entire resorts around making it as attractive as possible for people, especially some people on a budget, to go to places like that. And I think Brits go and work hard. They should, be able to, be able to go and enjoy themselves. And if they want a roast dinner on a Sunday in Spain, they should bloody well have it.
Yeah, I mean, they don't have to sell, 6 cocktails for €5, do they? I wonder why people end up, on the floor fighting each other.
Well, I don't know. I think Brits travel well, actually.
Well, I'm not sure.
Depends where you go, I suppose.
You know what? I blame the government, actually, here. I blame the years of us being... It's your fault, Barry. I blame the years of us actually having such hard lives here. Our housing costs a fortune. We work really long hours. We're taxed to oblivion. They tax it when we earn it. They tax it when we die. They tax it when they spend it. No wonder we want to drink till we fall over as soon as we get a bit of sunshine on us. Sorry.
So sorry.
I believe, am I able to do this? Is there someone here who's been to Benidorm? Someone's been to Benidorm? Yeah? Yeah! Brilliant. Go. What would you like to say?
I have been to Benidorm, and it's a great place for the Brits to go. They do contribute an awful lot financially and obviously socially. I agree with the lady down there. I think they should come to some kind of happy medium.
Yeah.
You mean rather than a happy hour?
Very good. Very good.
No, brilliant. We do a lot for the Spanish. The Spanish don't know they're born. The Spanish need us, don't they?
Well, I mean, who knows? I think this actual story is more about the number of illegal holiday lets that there are in these Spanish towns that are then unregulated, untaxed, and neighbours object to, but can't be traced by Spanish authorities. So I think that's a big part of it, and the government's trying to crack down on it. But, of course we want great holidays, and I blame the weather. It's the weather's fault that we all leave
Barry,
the UK.
That's your fault as well.
Yeah, Barry's fault.
To live in a town that is then suddenly swamped by, many times the number of its inhabitants, several times a year, where you then can't park, there's loads of rubbish, bad behaviour. That's not pleasant if that's your home and that's your identity and your family have lived there for generations. So I think everything in moderation. There's clearly too much of it
I think
for some people's liking.
Yeah, if your family has chosen to set up an Irish pub on the strip in Benidorm, then maybe. But anyway, I'm sorry, Barry, I'm sure you had a lot to contribute here, but we are bang out of time, I'm afraid. Sorry. But it is time next for our Greatest Britain and Union Jackass. We'll crown the winner, and I'll make sure I get it right this time. What on earth could this be about?
Emily, I'm really excited to be on Patrick's panel tonight on the show, and I've also got a bit of a special announcement for you, so stay tuned.
Drink, Britain.
Yes, OK, stay tuned. We've got all that coming on when we come back.
Oh, dear.
Hello, very good evening to you. Here's your latest GB News weather update coming to you from the Met Office. Whilst we are going to have a largely clear night tonight, we are going to see a bit of a change in our weather as we go through this weekend. That's because the high pressure that's been firmly in control of our weather through recent days does start to drift away towards the east, but for the time being it is still mostly dry. The exception being across the far north of Scotland, where there's a front lingering here bringing some cloud and a bit of rain. Elsewhere, lots of clear skies, and under these clear skies a few pockets of mist and fog, particularly towards the east, and again we could see temperatures dropping a fair bit. Perhaps not quite as chilly as some recent nights, but nonetheless a touch of frost is possible in some prone rural spots. So a fresh start to tomorrow morning, but also a bright sunny one for many places, the exception being, again, the far north of Scotland, Shetland, seeing some rain first thing. Otherwise, though, across much of Scotland, Northern Ireland, a good deal of bright, sunny weather to start the day, and it's a similar story across much of England and Wales. However, towards the southwest, here we're quite quickly going to see some cloud and some showery rain feeding its way in. Now, these showers are going to push their way northeastwards as we go through the day, initially across just really Devon and Cornwall and the southwestern tip of Wales, but they are going to become more widespread as we head into the afternoon. Some of these showers as well could be a little bit on the heavy side, particularly across parts of Wales and the southwest. Elsewhere, further north and east, a lot of dry and sunny weather, and temperatures, well, still in the low 20s, so feeling pretty warm indeed, but fresher from the west. More showery rain then pushes across most parts as we go overnight into Sunday. A lot of that then clears away towards the east through Sunday itself, but there will be a scattering of showers following in behind, albeit with some bright or sunny spells in between. More changeable weather to come as we go through next week. There will be some rain pushing through, and it could be a little bit heavy, perhaps even thundery at times as well. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much, everybody. Tremendous to have a live studio audience here. It's time for Greatest Britain, so we need a lot of audience participation, please. Barry Gardner, who's your Greatest Britain, please?
The National Institute for Clinical Excellence, because they've just approved a drug that will save the lives of 3,000 women a year for breast cancer.
Oh.
And I think that's... For clinical excellence.
Yeah.
Nice.
It's nice.
Nice.
Oh, so, I mean, it works. It writes itself, doesn't it? There you go. Miriam, who's your Greatest Britain, please?
My Greatest Britain is Katie Lamb, who's a Conservative MP, and she made a very, very brave speech in the House of Commons this week, challenging Labour dropping the grooming gangs inquiry and laying out in gory detail what's happened to these girls, which was so necessary to remind everybody about the plight of the victims.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Because at the time that Jess Phillips took to the stand, as they call it, in the House of Commons.
Dispatch box.
The dispatch box, otherwise known as the dispatch box. All right, someone's been in there. It was all a bit, you know, a bit rushed. It didn't seem like anyone really knew what was going on, particularly, and then obviously comes in, you know, and there was someone there to put the other side of it up. So fair play. That's a strong contender, I think. Christo, can I have your Greatest Britain, please?
Yeah, on a similar vein, Trevor Phillips, the journalist, broadcaster, for calling out the Labour Party and saying that actually that he genuinely believes the reason that they're not going further with these investigations is so that they don't alienate their voter base. And I think we need more journalists.
Yeah, the Trevor Phillips thing was quite an intervention, actually. I do believe he's on record. I don't think I'm blowing anyone's cover here. He certainly at least was a Labour Party member before. I believe he still is, I think. And so I think for him to come out and say that as well, and he's got a very prominent position at Sky News, which tries to bracket itself at least as being quite impartial and straight down the line. For him to come out and say that, I think shows the strength of feeling, doesn't it, there? So we've had three, you know, pretty good choices there and some good starts, I think. But I was going to go to you, Emily, to ask you to pick your Greatest Britain, but I thought I'd like to nominate my own this week, actually, if that's OK. And I would like to nominate you, Emily Carver, my wonderful wife, for being this week's Greatest Britain.
Oh, that's rather nice, isn't it?
I think you might know why.
Well, I mean, we are a family here at GB News, aren't we? I feel like a lot of our viewers feel that way too. A lot of our audience members may feel that way too. So, we've got a little motion picture to show you.
Yes.
How do you feel, Emily?
I've had one of these before, so you want to check everything, don't you?
Wow.
So yeah, there you go.
I can't wait to meet you.
So there you go. I mean, there were some annoyingly eagle-eyed people out there who seemed to know immediately, but I ignored those comments for a while before we got to this stage. But yes, 19 weeks, so it will hopefully be a September baby.
Fantastic.
Someone did ask there, is it twins? No, that was the first thing I checked.
It was.
It's not twins.
And his feet are on the right way round, the stenographer told us, so there we go.
Touch word, God bless.
Nice to know there's a bit of lead in your pencil as well, Patrick.
What can I say? I know, has anyone got any tips for us? I mean, have you got any tips for how we can go about being semi-decent parents?
No smartphones.
Adolescence on in the nursery.
I'm just going to try and enjoy every stage, because every stage is different and challenging and good in different ways. You just got to try and enjoy every stage. And get lots of help. Don't refuse any help in those first weeks, because it is a big job.
Sleep.
Yeah.
Well, there we go.
Well, probably.
Well, so I just wonder if we can maybe put this to a vote now, and we'll see. We'll see who wins. I don't know who could possibly win.
What if Emily doesn't win? Sorry. It's going to be terrible.
So we go for a very, very good cause, actually. NICE, the organisation that is going to help a lot of women survive breast cancer. So Miriam went for Katie Lamb, the Tory MP. Christo went for Trevor Phillips, of course. Again, another good one.
Also a good one.
Emily Carver. Well, I think that's a resounding victory, isn't it, for Emily and our as-yet unborn child. It's appeared on television as a fetus, which I think is a fantastic achievement. Not many people can say that they've done that. So here we go. We will actually, I think, be on the breakfast show tomorrow, won't we, to talk about it in a little bit more detail. So,
apparently, yes.
Now, how long have I got left on show? That 1 minute 14, which gives me just enough time to very quickly, if everyone can remember, who was your Union Jackass? Very quickly.
Oh God, love it.
Oh, I've got one. I think I've remembered it. The FA, the Football Association, because they've been deliberating about whether men should be able to play in women's football for about 10 years, and they've decided that actually, yes, they still can.
Go on, Barry.
My Union Jackass was NASA because they wanted to pick up the astronauts' poo from the moon. I mean, who's going to tread in it on the moon?
Yeah, but you can guarantee a local council's going to find you. You park your car on the moon and you step away for 10 minutes and it's got a ticket on it. And
I can't top anything that has been said. I'm not going to reveal my Union Jackass. I'm only going to give votes to you being great.
Well, I've got a Union Jackass. I do a joint award to Jess Phillips and Yvette Cooper for, I think, bottling this week.
OK, very quickly, NASA's poo collection. No? All right. The FA for letting blokes play in women's...
Yeah, that's pretty good.
All right.
Well, just let Emily win again.
And it does appear... Emily... What can we do?
She's on a roll. She's on a roll.
She's very popular. There we are. All right, well, hey, look, thank you very much. I've loved every single second with this wonderful audience. Thank you again to the people that have trekked all the way from Edinburgh. Headliners are on next, so make sure that you keep it juiced for the next hour. See you in a bit.
Even though we'll see a cloudy start, it'll be a bright outlook for the rest of the day. Boxed Solar, sponsors of weather on GB News.
Hello, very good evening to you. Here's your latest GB News weather update coming to you from the Met Office. Whilst we are going to have a largely clear night tonight, we are going to see a bit of a change in our weather as we go through this weekend. That's because the high pressure that's been firmly in control of our weather through recent days does start to drift away towards the east, but for the time being it is still mostly dry. The exception being across the far north of Scotland, where there's a front lingering here bringing some cloud and a bit of rain. Elsewhere, lots of clear skies, and under these clear skies a few pockets of mist and fog, particularly towards the east, and again we could see temperatures dropping a fair bit. Perhaps not quite as chilly as some recent nights, but nonetheless a touch of frost is possible in some prone rural spots. So a fresh start to tomorrow morning, but also a bright sunny one for many places, the exception being, again, the far north of Scotland, Shetland, seeing some rain first thing. Otherwise, though, across much of Scotland, Northern Ireland, a good deal of bright, sunny weather to start the day, and it's a similar story across much of England and Wales. However, towards the southwest, here we're quite quickly going to see some cloud and some showery rain feeding its way in. Now, these showers are going to push their way northeastwards as we go through the day, initially across just really Devon and Cornwall and the southwestern tip of Wales, but they are going to become more widespread as we head into the afternoon. Some of these showers as well could be a little bit on the heavy side, particularly across parts of Wales and the southwest. Elsewhere, further north and east, a lot of dry and sunny weather, and temperatures, well, still in the low 20s, so feeling pretty warm indeed, but fresher from the west. More showery rain then pushes across most parts as we go overnight into Sunday. A lot of that then clears away towards the east through Sunday itself, but there will be a scattering of showers following in behind, albeit with some bright or sunny spells in between. More changeable weather to come as we go through next week. There will be some rain pushing through, and it could be a little bit heavy, perhaps even thundery at times as well. Bye-bye.
Even though we'll see a cloudy start, it'll be a bright outlook the rest of the day. Boxed Solar, sponsors of weather on GB News.
Courtesy of Marquis Leisure, you could be driving away with this brand new Elnag Baron 560 motorhome. It comfortably sleeps 4, comes with sky roof, integrated kitchen and bathroom, and is worth over £67,000. And that's not all, as we'll also give you a further £5,000 in tax-free cash to make sure that wherever this motorhome takes you, it takes you there in style. For a chance to win a motorhome and cash, text WIN to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message, or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB13 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 6th of June. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand.
Dubes & Co. Weekdays from 6 p.m.
Common sense, I would suggest, has finally prevailed. The World Athletics Association has announced that they will introduce mandatory sex testing for anyone competing in female competition. The Olympic legend Sharon Davies. Sharon, how do you feel about this?
Well, first of all, obviously extremely pleased. It's something I've been trying to get done for the last 10 years when the IOC changed the rules in 2015 and basically threw women's sport totally under the work PC bus. On no peer-reviewed science whatsoever, and there's never been any peer-reviewed science ever in the world to show that we can remove male puberty advantage, and that's the whole reason why we have male and female races. You know, we can show that even in primary school children, little boys tend to run about 5% faster, and they jump and throw much further than little girls do. So we also have a Q angle, which is our angle from our hips to our knees. That's wider in a female for obvious reasons for childbirth. That puts more pressure on our knees, gives us more knee injuries, but allows males to have more cadence because obviously they're directly above their legs and their quads and their hamstrings, etc. So there's lots of benefits to being male that you can't remove by reducing testosterone, even if it was all the way through puberty.
This has also had a lot of criticism. Some people say, well, this is discriminatory to athletes that might have complex biological profiles, as they would call it. What would you say to that?
Well, it depends what you're calling complex biological profile. So if you were Caster Semenya, for example, you're biologically male, you're 46 ARD. So That means that you went through male puberty, you are male, but when you were born, sadly, you were picked up and they couldn't see your very small penis and your testes were internal. So they went, oh, this must be a female, we'll put a female on your birth certificate. But you're biologically male, and if that person had been born in this country, if there'd been any ambiguity, they would have given them a blood test and then known straight away.
The People's Channel.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation, isn't it?
No,
Because the failure is
you're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back,
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
and we do not shy away from the difficult stuff. Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood. So join me on Jubes & Co. weeknights at 6 p.m. only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Hello, it's 11 o'clock, which means it's time for tomorrow's newspapers tonight. Join us over the next hour for a bunch of stories, including hundreds of asylum seekers are going to be removed from hotels. But I'm worried about who's picking up the